everyone? It's the Lemesis, your nemesis. You can call me Lem. Welcome to another Marvel Snap Talk, or technically Snap Talk. It's a series of videos where we just kind of complain, talk, communicate about things. We get our ideas out there, out in the open, and I guess in this case, just my ideas out there in the open. And if you disagree or agree, comment below. If you can't comment, then I guess I don't really care about what you have to say, huh? I'm not sure why it's not working, but I don't really care too much to get into the details of trying to fix that. I'm just here to give my 2 cents, just like the rest of you. If you want to give your 2 cents, you can make your own YouTube video. But today on Snap Talk, what I would like to talk about is, there are a few things I want to talk about. I want to talk about the state of Marvel Snap when it comes to the PC Steam client not working, matchmaking, climbing the ladder, and something called confirmation bias or maybe psychology. So hopefully we won't get too deep into all of this. But I just want to give my input on this. So the first issue I have that I want to talk about in Snap Talk is the Steam client not working on PC. So as you can see on my screen, I have logged into Marvel Snap. This is on the PC for Steam client. And unfortunately, at the moment, today is April 23rd, and this has actually been going on for several days now. There's been a lot of people in our Discord channels. I could pull that up just to share with you guys. I've even put my complaints in here as well of people who are complaining inside of Discord to see if we can fix some of these known issues in Marvel Snap. But unfortunately, a lot of these channels / messages, I'm not sure, whatever you want to call them, they're just not really being answered. No one really even cares. No one is really saying anything inside of these threads. And you're seeing game crash, game broken, left field bug. I mean, there are quite a bit. And this is something that's been going on for quite some time that I'm not even aware of, because most of the time these types of bugs never really impacted me. But you're surprised to see that when something actually impacts you, how bad it can get. And right here, right now, that's what we're seeing, which is very, very unfortunate. Now, I have my own YouTube channel and I have my own, Twitch channel and Twitter, blah, 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 right? I don't have millions of followers yet. I don't have thousands and thousands of likes and views. But this is something that I like to do. I like to do it casually. It's something that I'm excited to do. And I am very limited now in what I can do when it comes to this game. I'm unable to stream Marvel Snap with success because of this bug that they have within the PC version that's on Steam. Because ever since I did the update on Steam, I have been having issues with the game crashing, and I haven't actually been able to stream on Twitch at all, which is unfortunate. And again, that's just something that I do more as a hobby more than anything else. So it's not breaking the bank. I'm not hurting, like a lot of others might be. But there's probably some streamers that are really well known that are struggling with this right now. And it does seem like it's not impacting every single streamer that is out there, or every single person that has a Steam account where they play Marvel Snap. But still, even if that's the case, this is something that should at least be addressed. It seems like there's quite a bit of people, and I like using the word seems because that's going to lead to another topic down the road when it comes to our perception of things that I want to address. So it's very unfortunate that the game is not working right now, and I kind of want to prove that. So before I got on this this recorded video, I actually tried to play the game again. This is probably like my 5th or 6th attempt. Actually more than that, because I would just reconnect and disconnect and then reconnect and then it would disconnect and then reconnect. So I've done it several times. I will say this, the game is definitely working on my cell phone. So So that's not an issue. But the thing is, I've made a transition from actually playing, because when I first started playing this game, I started playing it when the game launched, and I started playing it on my phone. I was a heavy mobile gamer when it comes to playing Marvel Snap. And like I said before, I played hours and hours and hours a day on my free time, in between calls, just to kind of, shoot the breeze. And then what ended up happening was, I have a great friend of mine. I won't mention his name, who keeps pushing me to get to playing this game on the PC. So, and actually just playing PC games in general. He's tried plenty of times in the past and then failed, and we tried to find games that we like playing with each other. I think we have a good steady flow now at the moment, but I was just never it never really felt like there was a game out there that I would really enjoy playing on the PC until Marvel Snap. So, watching some streamers on YouTube, checking out different channels, I found out about this thing called Untapped GG that you see on my screen right now, and it's really, really great. It allows you to track your deck while you're playing, and when you play others, it tracks what's in their deck as well, and it displays it. And it's actually one of the things I think that helps a lot of gamers to succeed playing this game, because part of Marvel Snap is just like memorization. You have to remember what decks are out there, what cards could be included in order for you to anticipate what your opponent's going to play. So this game is really about learning the cards, learning the decks. To be honest with you, you probably have to play a bunch of styles, different decks, for you to really get good at this game, because then as you continue to do that, you'll learn the different deck styles, you'll know what's going to come, and then you know whether you need to retreat or you need to stay. So you don't get that big surprise in the end. So, I started playing this just a few times once I found out about this Untapped GG, and I didn't switch over immediately, but I made the switch probably close to a month after I heard about Untapped GG. I think I was watching like Bootman, and he was using it, and I was like, that's cool. I saw a couple other YouTubers do it as well, and then I was like, I'm all right. And then about after I started getting really frustrated with the game, maybe a month and a half after that, I switched to the PC, started playing that in my office, and then I was like, wow, this Untapped GG like really changes the game. I started noticing that I was making a lot of dumb decisions just strictly off of my memory, right? Forgetting a card that got discarded or that was destroyed, or being like, what did I put in my deck? Like, just not remembering what was in my deck really hindered me. And then having this display showing the cards that you had discarded, cards that were destroyed, or cards that are in your hand that are still in the deck, it really impacted the game and started changing things for me. So, I want to play on the PC. This is the short story. I actually predominantly play on the PC now. And unfortunately, when I'm trying to switch back to play on my phone, my gaming experience is just not quite the same. So my frustration is, man, Marvel Snap, what are you doing? You have to really hear your customers, like in this case, right? I'm a customer that's being impacted when there's probably most of the time I was not being impacted by this or whatever issues that were going on. So now I'm putting my 2 cents. I've always said it's better for you not to complain if you're not willing to do something about it. So this is definitely me doing something about it, something that I think that we all should do. There's power in the people, there's power in your voice. So if we get out there and we tell them in a respectful manner, I think that they'll make the changes that are necessary. So I'm going to continually do this. This started off with me doing just one video, not expecting to do more, and now I'm just fully diving in. I'm taking advantage of this, and I'm enjoying it as we go. So it's just very unfortunate that they haven't fixed this, and I'd like for them to do so. So the next thing I want to talk about on the Snap Talk is the matchmaking issues, ranking systems. And actually, before we get into that, let me actually show you one of the issues that we run into while we're, playing the game, while the game shuts down. So it took a few minutes or a few seconds of playing the game to see this happen. But the first time this started happening, it would be I'd play a card, the animation of flipping the card would freeze the game and it wouldn't work. Right? And I did that over and over and over and over and over again. Now I do think it's very deck specific because there are certain cards that it looks like it definitely triggers. Um, and I was playing a different deck where I was using like Mystique and other cards like that. And that was up, there it is. I just wanted to trigger that. As you can see right now, my screen is frozen and voila, here we are. So I just wanted to show that this is definitely something that is happening and it's very unfortunate. I'm not going to waste time trying to pull that back up. We can just use Discord here for now. But we definitely need to see something different with that Marvel Snap. That happens every time. So I guess it's getting a little better because before I wasn't even able to go from, turn 1 to turn 2. So now I'm able to go to turn 2. So maybe after a few more days, I can go to turn 3 without a problem. But as you can see, right now, I'm not even getting back in the game, right? So I'm losing out on cubes. It's not fun for me. I can't get my missions done. Will Marvel Snap compensate us? Probably not. But, because they're just this is my thing. People don't understand that these companies are not your friend, right? And again, I am a YouTuber now, technically, right? Like I'm making videos, I'm putting out content. I'm not sponsored by Marvel Snap. And I promise you, I would never be sponsored by Marvel Snap if they're going to pigeonhole me from saying the truth and speaking my mind. I believe in being honest and being transparent and telling the truth. And unfortunately, this company is not doing what it should be doing, taking care of these problems and fixing them in a fast manner, right? There's like Spider-Man and Uncle Ben said the Spider-Man or Peter Parker is with great power comes great responsibility. Well, guess what? You guys have great power. You have millions of dollars that is coming in. So I don't want to hear any excuses. If you're making 20 million a month or 10 million a month or however many million a month, really shouldn't be any excuses. You should be delivering and you should be delivering quickly. And you should have the systems and the processes put in place to make sure that you deliver. So it's so easy for you to take our money when we spend $100 on a gold package that's in your shop, but then when it comes to you delivering on us playing the game, you're slow and you want us to be understanding and hey guys, we've posted something. That's the part that I believe they don't understand outrageous customers, because you want us to be patient when you screw us over, but then like when like you want us to be patient when we need something, but when you need something, you want us to be patient, but when we need something, you don't give a rip about us, right? That's illogical. That doesn't make sense. Do unto others as you'd like to be done unto yourself. And clearly, Marvel Snap wants all the money, and they want us to shut up and go home. That's basically it, right? So they're a business, and let's not try to pretend they're anything else but a business. So before I got into that and got off that on that rabbit trail, we talked about the matchmaking. I started to talk about the matchmaking. So this stems from, multiple YouTubers and videos that I've seen, and I'm going to get into this a little deeper very shortly. But the problem I have with the matchmaking and ranking system in Marvel Snap is they created this new concept where you could get to level 30, then you bump up 5 levels. Get to level 40, you go to 45. Get to level 50, you go to 55. Get to level 60, go to 65. And this was supposed to help people to make it to infinite faster. I have a problem with this. The reason why I have a problem with this is because I believe there is a algorithm in place that hinders your progress once you've reached that particular level. And let me explain. And this is why I want to talk about confirmation bias and all these buzz phrases and words that somehow these YouTubers have turned into professional psychologists and science scientists who can break you down mentally and tell you how stupid and foolish you are. And I'm here to challenge those peers, those people, by asking you questions and making sure that you really understand what you're saying and that you're not actually just confirming what you want to confirm because you're just getting paid by Marvel Snap to say what you say or to keep the game alive, because I have none of those motives, but I don't want to get into that at the moment. So what I don't like is I've seen, and let me pull up the game again so you can see. I've been playing this game a lot and I've put in a lot of money into this game. My collection level is pretty high. I'm at over 9,000 on my collection level. That's not to brag, that's just to show you proof that I've been playing this game a lot. Now, what I've noticed is a lot of the things that other people have noticed, where you get these mirror matches, you get these matches where you were just put at odds against your opponent. Your opponent just seems to always have an answer for you. You play these cheating bots. Now, the problem is Marvel Snap makes these claims that they are not looking at your deck. They are not looking at your cards. But my thing is, prove it. Now, I watched the video by KM Best, and he said that a lot of these Marvel Snap players who are complaining about this, they're basically just, he didn't want to be a jerk, was what he was saying. He didn't want to be a jerk about it and just call you stupid and just blow you off. And I mentioned this in a video before, but then he tried to put the burden of proof on us, the people who don't believe in Marvel Snap and Second Dinner, when they make the claims that they made, that they don't look at the decks, they don't look at the cards, it's completely random. He said for us to prove what we see in our experience, whether that's true or not, you need to prove that. And I would push back on KM Best and Second Dinner and say, no, you prove that to me that I'm wrong. And here's why. We have proof, and I have multiple YouTube videos that I've seen where Ben Brode in Discord, and I'm sure if I spent the time to pull it up, I've read it and seen it for myself. Ben Brode specifically stated in a channel that's in Discord, or whoever was acting as Ben Brode, that when it comes to the ranking system, you are going to be given favorable matches and unfavorable matches to put you in a position to test you to figure out where you rank in the infinite ranking. So we're just going to assume that what he said was true because he said it. And then if he also said that he also said that your MMR, your deck is not being used, we now need to figure out whether Ben Brode is contradicting himself or if Ben Brode is, misspoke the first time around. So what I'm saying to you is, in order for us to really evaluate this situation and evaluate this situation accurately, we need more data. That's the main point that I'm getting at. The data that you and I have is our experience, right? I have hours and hours of recorded video that shows the randomness, and I say that in air quotes, that occurs in a Marvel Snap game. And I think by looking at that data, this is not confirmation bias. This is evaluating my gameplay. This is evaluating my experience. And then when you take that into consideration with all of the many other people who share the same exact experience and also have streams showing that exact same experience, I think we have a lot more data on our side verifying that information compared to just contradicting words that come from Ben Brode in a Discord chat and something Glenn says or some other dev says in another Discord chat. That's the point that I'm getting across. What's happening is the matchmaking experience in Marvel Snap, you'll go up to level 65, up to level 75, up to level 85, whatever the ranking system is, the ranking number is, and then you get handed a series or multiple series of games that are directly correlated to drop you from 65 to 60 to 58 to 59. You hit 55 and you get unfavorable matches that drop you down. And to me, that makes logical sense because Marvel Snap doesn't want you to get to the infinite rank so quickly. They want you to stay in the game, play the game, try to buy more cards, feel like you can't make it to infinite. So then you stupidly think that you need to buy an extra card. And unfortunately, that's what happens, right? And for us to be so stupid to believe in Second Dinner wholeheartedly and just trust that whatever they're saying to us is the truth is stupid on our part. But you know who I don't think is stupid for believing that? People like KM Best or other YouTubers who might be affiliated with this company in some way, shape, or form. Of course, they're not going to say those types of things. And of course, Ben Brode and or anyone at Second Dinner is never going to admit those things, which is why I find this topic so funny that we've gotten to the point where we just trust and believe in companies, business organizations, when we've had such a united front when we talk about pharmaceutical companies, our government, all types of things that we just seem to be lock in step with. But for some reason, this gaming company has a hold on certain individuals or groups of people on Reddit who just tend to think there's nothing that they can do wrong. They tell us the truth all the time, and they should always be given the benefit of the doubt, which I find it really, really hilarious to me. So what I'm saying is, this is not a coincidence. This is something that I believe they're actually doing it. And I believe they're actually doing it because I choose to believe that based off of my gaming experience with hours of streams that you can see when you go to my YouTube page and more YouTube videos that will be uploaded proving that, where I'm going up in rank to level 65, level 75, whatever it may be, and I drop in rank. And as you can see, I've been playing the game for quite some time. Collection level 9,756. And I know with almost certainty when I'm really playing a bot and when I'm really playing a human being. And the thing that I find that's so frustrating is when you're playing a bot, there's two types of bots you can play, right? Maybe three, right? From my experience. The bot that, you know, they just give you a lay down win. They play stupid cards. They have card animations that are just impossible. And, you know, they're just laying down just to give you a W because they just beaten the brakes off of you for so long. It's time for you to climb back up. Then you play these cheating bots that always have an answer for you. That is most of the time the bots, if not all the time, bots that I find the most frustrating because it trains you to tilt. It trains you in your mind to always push further because you play these bots back to back to back to back to back. Now, I'm not an arrogant individual that just thinks that I'm superior to other people because I don't believe that to be so. But I do know that the average person is not the most intelligent Marvel Snap player to ever exist. And I do know with randomness that the odds of me playing 20, 30, 50, 100, 200 games back to back where I'm not getting the exact cards that I need to beat my opponent, but somehow my opponent for several games back to back somehow has the exact cards they need to combat me, that's not randomness. That's orchestrated, especially when it goes hand in hand with exactly what I stated. As soon as I hit level 65, I hit level 55, I hit level 45, I go through a series of card games or matches where I'm strategically losing back to back, whether I'm losing 8 cube games or I'm losing 1 to 2 cube games slowly at a time. It does not matter. You get baited and switched over and over and over. Now, it might happen to the point where you might get a human and then you get a bot and then you get a bot and then you get a bot and you might get a human. So there might be some games where you think you're playing a bot and you're not playing a bot and you lost to a human. So, but my point is that I typically know when I'm playing a person, because when you play a person and they don't have a starting hand that's good and they're an actual good Marvel Snap player, they retreat. That's the key. They retreat. You play a human being, they know when to leave. You play the bot just keeps pushing and says, I'm going to double down. I have the better hand. I think I know what you're going to do. And they just play the perfect hand every time. Now, that happens when you play against people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not afraid to lose. That definitely does happen. But for it to happen consistently for hours and hours upon end, it's just unreasonable and unrealistic. And I have the videos to prove it. As you hear me complaining while I'm watching, while I'm playing the game, you see that. You see my experience, and I'm sure it's an experience you can relate to. So that leads me to this thing called confirmation bias, these buzzwords and these phrases that I hear individuals talk about when they talk about this issue, when they try to put on you the burden of proof, when really, what has Second Dinner done to prove that they actually don't look at your deck? They haven't shown you anything. They haven't given you any evidence besides their word. And if you think that's sufficient, if you think that's legitimate, to me, that's why I question you. To me, I find the person who has that opinion to be very ignorant. So let's talk about confirmation bias. Let's go into the details. And the reason why I have an issue with this is because what people don't understand is a lot of these buzz phrases and words, they come from something called psychology, right? There's confirmation bias, there's randomness bias, there's cognitive bias. And I come from a background where I am a born-again Christian. And the reason why I bring this up is because there are some concepts of psychology that are just contradictory to, in my opinion, logic, common sense, and biblical truth. And the reason why I'm pushing back on this is because for you to accept certain concepts from psychology would have to mean that you would have to accept the root of those those birth thoughts and processes. And psychology, in my opinion, has some flaws that their root clearly puts the spotlight on them for them to realize that, like, maybe we can't just trust everything that psychology comes up with. So let's talk about confirmation bias. People's tendency to process information by looking for or interpreting information that is consistent with their existing beliefs. Now, there's a lot of assumptions made here. I wasn't looking for that. I'm not interpreting as such. The information that I'm gathering is not gathered in a scientific method, but does anyone do that? Do you use the scientific method in everything and every reasoning and every situation in your life? No, you don't. I would assume most scientists don't do that unless they're doing that in a lab. And I've taken many science classes, chemistry, I've taken all types of science classes, chemical biology, all types of classes. And these concepts that people like to throw out as buzz phrases and buzzwords are just phrases and words I think people try to use to buffer their argument. That the very same people who label you as trying to use confirmation bias, they, in a sense, they do the same thing. They're doing the same thing to uproot your argument because they're not showing you any evidence to prove that you are using confirmation bias itself. It's something that can't be proven, right? When a YouTuber comes out and says that you're using confirmation bias to develop your opinion, to state what you believe, then can they prove to you that you are using confirmation bias? Can they prove to you that the evidence of which they speak of contradicts what you say? Can they prove that evidence is true without a reasonable doubt? They can't. So it's just conjecture is the whole point that I'm trying to get at. It's just phrases and buzzwords that sound super intelligent, super exciting, and they throw it at you in your face, but they're not using the scientific method to prove you wrong. This is why I have a problem with this. Randomness bias. Randomness bias is our tendency to notice patterns in random data that simply don't exist. How do they know it doesn't exist? They're not proving anything. The most common example of this is seen in gamblers who make bets based on such patterns or superstitions when the odds are truly random. So now you think You have to assume a lot of things. It's such a similar argument when it comes to why certain people believe evolution and that we came from amoebas, or we've developed over time through small microscopic organisms. There's a lot of assumptions that are made that no one seems to want to challenge when they make these claims and these arguments. And that's the point that I'm making here. I'm not saying psychology is bunk and you should throw it out of the window. What I'm saying is, let's stop ignoring the elephant in the room. Psychology has its flaws too. So for us to just embrace a concept of psychology and apply that as a blanket theory, not theory, because theory is still yet to be proven, to label it as a law, like the laws of contradiction, is illogical. It's really just a objective opinion based on evidence that people project when they communicate with their behavior, right? They're communicating their behavior or their patterns, or the experience is probably the better word. They're communicating their experience. And from a psychologist standpoint, to kind of gloss over the situation, they use phrases or buzzwords like randomness bias, confirmation bias, to kind of poo-poo what you're saying away when they're not actually showing you any evidence to verify that as such. To shut an individual up would be very simple by showing them the evidence of, here's our algorithm, here's what we do, here's our system, here's our computer programming, this is what we have designed, here's how it's been designed from the very beginning. Someone coming out on Discord and just simply saying, we don't do that, isn't evidence. So what I'm saying to you is, your opinion and my opinion are valid until the evidence is all on the table. If you think that I'm working in confirmation bias, so be it. I don't believe I'm doing that. I believe you're just trusting a company or an organization because there's something for you to profit from it, or you just illogically want to defend a company for whatever reason that I cannot justify or verify. Only you would know. So let's call a spade, right? Let's stop trying to create this cavern between each other to assume that you're just so superior than myself, or vice versa, when that's not the case. We're two people who don't know what the hell we're talking about, right? I'm talking about my experience. You're talking about your experience. You've come up with your reasoning. I've come up with my reasoning. Until we get the evidence from second dinner, none of us know what we're talking about. But what I'm suggesting is, I believe the odds are that I'm right about this, not just because it's my opinion, it's because we've seen with evidence throughout history of companies and organizations not being honest, not being truthful. I mean, you see this just in commercials. They've proven that when you watch the McDonald's commercial or you watch a cereal commercial, that sometimes the milk that they use in the commercial isn't even milk. They pour glue in the cereal bowls, and then they pour the cereal in the glue. So then when you watch that commercial, it looks much more appetizing and it makes you want to go purchase the cereal. When that's not true. You're not watching them eat cereal. You're watching them eat glue with cereal. So you're being fooled. You see this in the grocery stores. Why do they always put certain products in the back? Why aren't there any windows inside of a grocery store, in most grocery stores? Because they're designing things psychologically to F with you. You see that? That's who you're trusting. That's who you're believing in. They're not showing you any evidence. They actually keep this stuff a secret from you. MarvelsNap is doing that very same thing. Look at my screen. You have nothing but loot boxes. Why do you think they designed the game that way? That you can't get exactly what you want. You have to keep moving up the collection level to hopefully get a card that you've been trying to get. Again, I'm not the end all be all, the smartest person in the room, and you might laugh and go, yeah, we can tell by listening to your video. That's fine. You can make your jokes. My point is, stop acting like you're so much smarter than I am. Because you're not. Stop pretending to be the end-all be-all. Your experience does not trump my experience unless you prove me as well. So the burden of proof isn't on me. The burden of proof is on all of us, and I'm sharing my proof. It's up to you to now prove whether what I've shared with you is right or wrong, not based off of a phrase or a statement inside of a Discord that just says we don't do that. There should be much more evidence than that. But not only do I have the Discord where Ben Brode says that we purposely match you to find out where you are, and over time you'll be given favorable and unfavorable matches to place you right where you belong. I also have him contradicting himself and my gameplay experience that's been recorded on Twitch and uploaded to YouTube. And I have that same information, not for all the people who play the game, but for a large portion of people I would consider large that actually follow this game in their gameplay, because I see the same thing in their streams when I watch them, when I try to learn from them to make my channel better. So again, psychology is not a law. Psychology is not objective. There's some things that we base psychology on that I will say this, as a Christian, there are some biblical truths that you can find in psychology, but not the majority of it. So I'm not throwing the whole thing out the window. What I'm saying is it's not infallible. Let's stop pretending that it's infallible, because it's not. It's still going to be subjective. And that's what I think people need to realize when you watch these videos, when you share your opinions. I do think there are things that are infallible, and we're not here to discuss those, argue those points. I think every knee shall bow and every tongue will confess, and it won't be to Galactus, it will be to the Lord Jesus Christ. But we don't have to talk about that right now, because that's not what I'm here for. All I'm saying is stop trying to pretend that the people who are complaining about these experiences that they're having on Marvel Snap isn't legitimate, because it is. And the burden of proof is on Second Dinner to prove us wrong. But they're not doing that. They're just making statements and they're not showing evidence, right? Sounds very similar to our government, right? Our government says a lot of things. Our president gets on, and I'm not even talking about our current president. I'm just speaking our government in general. Our president gets on the stage, he gets on the podium, he makes a lot of claims. I mean, I was around to see Bill Clinton say I did not have sexual relations with that woman. And not too long afterwards, completely denying his statement. So again, it's like, come on, people. Are you really that gullible? Right? Stop pretending, right? I'm not sitting over here making every decision using the scientific method, and I don't think you should yourself. But to use that kind of reasoning when you want to debate other people and push back on them is foolish to me, because you're not doing that yourself. And if you really believe that to be true, why aren't you using the scientific method to prove other people wrong, besides telling them to come with their burden of proof, when you should have the proof yourself? And the proof that I'm bringing to the table is my live streams and my gameplay experience. And saying to you, I'm level 9,756. I've seen that same tendency. I see others who've shared that as well. I'm not looking for that to confirm anything. It makes logical sense for that to be the case, because they want to make the most money. And guess what? They won with someone like me. Every time they did that, keeping me in the game, guess what? I've told you, I'm a whale. Now, I would have spent that money either way or not, but it worked. It got me to spend more money. So let's look at this thing holistically. Let's be smart and wise and understand that there's two sides of the story. Let's not be quick to dismiss. Let's not be arrogant. Let's try to understand. I know I can come across the wrong way at times, maybe even in this video, but that is the nature of what I'm trying to communicate to you. So thank you for your time. Thank you for this Snap Talk. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Like always, don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, you should get to know him. It will be the best decision you've ever made in your life. What I suggest you do is look up the salvation prayer or the sinner's prayer And you don't even really have to do that. You just talk to him right now, ask him to come into your life, and again, it'll be the best decision you've ever made. I'm the Lemesis, your nemesis, but you can call me Lem. Peace, love, and hap. I hope you have a wonderful day. Enjoy your evening. God bless. Catch you on the next one.